Today, I'm going to be building a $300 gaming PC that can run competitive esports titles at over 200 FPS. That's right, this computer is going to be able to kill some of these competitive esports games, all for a pretty reasonable price at only $300. So starting off, we're just going to go with the CPU. We have the i5-8600. This is getting a little bit older, but this is a 6-core, 6-threaded CPU from Intel. I think it came out in 2018, so it's definitely getting up there in age, but we got it for a pretty good price. The motherboard that we got was an H310M, and it kind of looks like an OEM motherboard because it is green, but it's going to work perfectly fine for our gaming PC, and we got this for $50 on the dot off of Amazon. And for the RAM, we did get 16 gigabytes of silicon power. I think it's the value gaming sticks of RAM. I got it for $23 for 16 gigabytes off of Amazon. Brand new, shipped to me. It has 3200 megahertz, which will be plenty enough for this build because, as you guys know, AMD, it matters a little bit more, but for Intel, the memory speed does not matter. And I'm pretty sure the memory is locked at 2666 anyways by default. Next up, we have the GPU, and for the GPU, we have the GTX 1070. Now, you may be thinking, wow, the 1070, that's a little bit old. But as you have seen from my channel and you've seen from other channels, the GTX 1070 is still very viable in 2025. It's going to give you performance that is somewhat similar to an RTX 2060, just without the ray tracing and without the DLSS. Now that we have FSR 4.0 or 3.0 in a lot of games, you can use upscaling to help your games have a little bit more performance while still not breaking the bank and buying something over $100. And we ended up getting the GTX 1070 for a measly $70. That is a great deal on an 8 gigabyte card. Next up, we have the power supply, and I know some of you may be thinking, like, why did you not spend more on the power supply? But I got an Aries Game 500 watt Amazon special power supply. It was $37 for a 500 watt, and it is going to work well enough for our build. I would say if you're going for a more powerful CPU and GPU, I would not use this power supply and invest in something a little bit nicer like an MSI Mag B650N. Something like that, something that is going to be a little bit higher on the power supply tier list. I just wanted to save a buck, and we got this, and it's going to be perfectly fine for our build. For the case, we ended up getting somewhat of a new egg special, and this is a Zalman PC case. It comes with one fan, which you will see later in the video is going to be a little bit problematic because I didn't buy any more fans. But it does have RGB in the front, which is something that I was looking for, always trying to get that little bit of pop for the YouTube thumbnail. And either way, for 40 bucks, this PC case is an interesting one. It is very light. If you can see, I'm going to put a video up there, but I can literally lift this with like my fingers. It's like it's a pound or two. I don't know how they used this much aluminum and it was still that light. The quality was not great, but the price was great, and we got this for $40. Can't really say that. One fan is definitely not enough to cool the CPU, especially when you see the CPU cooler that I got, which I'm going to tell you about right now. The CPU cooler that we got for this build was another Amazon special. It was a $9.99, so it ended up being about $10. It was... Let me look because I don't know the name of this. I've never heard of this brand before. It's called the DS 1500 RPM central fan. I should have looked at the reviews. There was a lot of people saying that this was going to thermal throttle your CPU, but I thought, 65 watt CPU, what's the worst that could happen? Spoiler alert, 90 degrees Celsius is what can happen. You can cheap out on a CPU cooler, just don't cheap out to the extent that I did. Just pay $15 and get like an $15 tower CPU cooler, and you will be totally fine. Next up, we got a 512 gigabyte SSD, and I just happened to pull this out of another build that I already had. I presumed it to be not working because it wasn't showing up in the drive manager whenever I was using it for this other build. So I was just like, let me try it out in this build, and it ended up working. Now, again, you don't have to go with this. You don't have to go for a used SSD. You could always buy one brand new. But for price sake, I just said that this costs $25 because you can usually get a 512 gigabyte SSD used for about $25. It's going to run perfectly fine as long as it is an M.2. It should be faster than what you would see with a hard drive or even a SATA SSD. It's going to be all of the components. We were just under that $300 threshold. For esports titles, this CPU and GPU combination are going to be a perfect pair. And that's what, at the end of the day, when you have a $300 PC build, all that really matters is the price to performance. And I think this PC is top tier for sure. Now, we're going to test this PC in a couple of popular games. We got Splitgate 2, a brand new game that just came out. If you guys played Splitgate 1, you will know that that is a pretty fun game that never really got super popular. We're also going to play Fortnite, of course. And then we're going to play Battlefront 2, which has been resurging in popularity recently due to the devs saying we're not going to make a Battlefront 3. So let's see how this performs on this $300 gaming PC. Guys, we're playing on literally the highest possible settings at 1080p, DirectX 12, full FOV. Let's see how this performs. Currently, it's looking like it's going to run very well. Look at this, 140 FPS. That's absolutely insane. Dude, I just got beat by a bot. No way. Dude, this gun is so insane. Let me back up. Let me back up real quick. Don't chip out. Don't be like me. Detonator to the brain? All right, well, that's Star Wars Battlefront. It is running very well, actually. We're getting over 120 FPS at the highest possible settings. That is, for a system like this, that is totally a win in my book. All right, guys, here we are. We are in Splitgate 2. This is a brand new title. I played the original Splitgate, and I actually really liked it. It just never really had the player count and the player base that I was looking for. But we're going to be running it all ultra settings if they let us, so that we can really get the most out of this GPU. I'm not going to be doing any sort of TAA, any sort of that frame gen, and nothing like that. We're just going to see how this does without any upscaling, because obviously we can add in upscaling later, but that's a little cheating in my mind. So we'll just play some arena quick play. 100 FPS? I mean, 100 FPS? No complaints. Look at that. Our CPU right now is pinned at 100%. We're getting 87 degrees Celsius. That is, see, that is what you're not looking for. Dude, this gun's kind of sick. Oh no, I'm dead. Dang it. As soon as our CPU utilization goes up, our temperatures go up quite a bit, and that's something that, like, in the long run, this would not be healthy for the computer. All right, I think that's gonna wrap up this title. I think it runs perfectly fine if you have a good CPU cooler on it. Again, that's an oversight on my part. I would just say, if we're going to do anything different about this computer, it is going to be the CPU cooler and maybe the amount of case fans. All right, guys, so we're going to be running Fortnite today. We're gonna be playing on the performance graphic settings so that we can try to get the most FPS possible out of this $300 gaming PC. And we are going to be playing on epic everything except for meshes and this, the nanite, whatever. So let's see how this performs in a regular Fortnite game. What do you think? Oh, look at that. Getting 300 FPS right now. Obviously, in the actual battle bus, it's not super intensive, but this is a very good sign. I think on performance mode, if you want to be playing esports titles like Fortnite, you are going to have a perfectly fine experience with this computer. Like, look at this. We're getting like in the 200 FPS range. Like, that is absolutely insane to be. Oh my, 200. Oh, what is that? Yeah, it's good. Oh. No, no. No! Sadness. That was Fortnite. It ran very well. Obviously, again, I'm going to keep harping on it. The temperatures were not good, but the game did run really well, and we were getting way over 200 FPS whenever we were not in a fight, which is going to be pretty much ideal. So yeah, I would definitely recommend playing Fortnite on this machine. I'd say that overall this PC is a win and definitely something that I would build if I had $300 to spend on a gaming PC. You can play games at 1080p, high refresh rate, and have a very good experience. Now, obviously, I know that the CPU fan was an issue, but that is something that could be easily corrected by just buying a little bit of a nicer CPU fan, and we still had $10 left in the budget, so that is totally plausible. If you guys like this video, make sure you go check out some of my other videos that are also great as well. I'll see you guys in the next one.